And let's talk some college football, guys. Now, as you guys know, what was it? Is it like 2 weeks ago or so? A bombshell was basically dropped saying that Oklahoma and Texas were going to leave the Big 12 and basically join the SEC. And it was pretty much a done deal. Like at that point in time, there were talks behind the scenes that this had been happening since January of last season. So 2020 is quote when people said that Texas and Oklahoma were actually talking to the SEC to join them. So the voting has happened. The SEC is going to extend an invitation to Texas and Oklahoma to join the SEC. What you guys don't know is way back before the Big 12 or even the Big 8. I don't remember when the Big 8, 12. I do know the Big 12 started in 96, but the Big 8 started, well before that. But Oklahoma and Texas, they were in the SEC before they jumped ship and joined the Big 8 with K-State, Kansas, Iowa State. Nebraska was in there like at the time. I believe Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Baylor, so like they were already all in there. So those two schools actually jumped ship to join the Big 8, which turned into the Big 12. And like, so they are kind of like, going back to their roots per se. But we're not here to talk about the SEC. We're here to talk about the Big 12 and the Pac-10. So allegedly, I don't know how true this is, but the commissioners of the Big 12 and the Big 10 have been in conversations. They've been in meetings saying, hey, maybe we should join together because once Texas and Oklahoma leaves the Big 12, that drops them down to 7 teams, right? So the 7 teams would be Kansas State, Kansas, Iowa State. You're looking at Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU, and West Virginia, right? So there are your 7 teams. So with that being said, the Big 12 and the Big 10 are like, hey, let's figure something out how we can merge or work together or something to basically so we are no longer the kicking stool of the NCAA college football moving forward. Because let's just be flat out honest. I believe you have to have 10 teams to hold a conference championship. Right now, the Big 12 cannot hold a conference championship because they got 7 teams in the league if Texas and Oklahoma jump ship. Yes, the Pac-12 has like 16 teams, and then adding those 6 or 7 teams that would also join would make them a mega 20-team conference, right? But what does that do about West Virginia? West Virginia then, in theory, would have to go back to the roots to ACC or something to that effect. Because, how is that fair for West Virginia to have to fly from coast to coast, like every week to play Oregon and Oregon State and Washington and like those guys? It would be absolutely dumpster fire for them 100%. So if the Big 10 and Pac-12 were to join and make basically a Midwest West Coast conference, from Iowa to California, or is Hawaii in the Pac-12? I can't remember if Hawaii's in the Pac-12 or not. But like either way, from Iowa to California, think about of that footprint that they would have in recruiting wise. You can recruit kids from California to come to Iowa a lot easier. Be like, hey, we're going to be playing in California 4 or 5 times a year. Hell, the conference championship game is going to be in like LA Coliseum or something just like that. But like either way, like when you think of a 20-team quote mega conference, that is the only way you can legitimately compete with the SEC if Oklahoma and Texas actually do join them. So if this were to happen, this would drastically change the landscape of college football as we know it. We will no longer see any 16-team conferences. They're all going to be 20+ teams. We're going to be looking at a three conference mega league more or less, because we're going to have the Big 10. I feel like West Virginia would probably join the Big 10 along with maybe like Cincinnati or some of those other schools in the ACC. And then you're going to probably the SEC is going to absorb the ACC at the end of the day, and then you're going to have the I don't know, let's call it the Pac-20, right? Whatever their new name is going to be. I mean, that's probably how it's going to be, guys. And then we're not going to see any of these, you know, University of Central Florida teams, you know, making a run at it, because their strength of schedule is going to be so bad, and the other strength schedules are going to be so great. They're going to have to be absorbed into this thing as well. I would not be surprised if, I believe the bargaining agreement for the NCAA till 2023, 2024 is like the deal that they have worked out now. So probably once 2024, 2025 hits, we are going to see a division like the NFL. We are going to see like a 4 to 8 team divisions, and you know, the champion from the division goes into the playoffs. You get a wild card, and then bada bing, bada boom. I mean, we are looking at NFL 2.0, except for college football with 120 teams. Like,